Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. The crumbling concrete classrooms at a Yorkshire school. Pupils and staff fear the effect of months of disruption on exam results.
We're competing against everyone else in the country. How can we be as good as them when we don't have the same facilities?
A head teacher says it's completely unfair on the children. Also tonight, a motorist has a lucky escape as Storm Isha rips a roof off a house. We'll look at the impact of strong winds across our region. An inquest begins into the death of a man at a seaside holiday park. Witnesses say he was held down by security staff for 23 minutes. And we meet one of the young stars of Oliver at the Leeds Playhouse, who's won plaudits for his leukemia fundraising.
And it stays very unsettled this week. Further strong winds are warning in place again from later tomorrow. Join me for that week ahead forecast.
Hello, hope you had a lovely weekend. Welcome to Monday's Look North. First tonight, children at a school in Scarborough say they've been let down and left behind because of crumbling concrete in their classrooms. At Scalby School, 2/3 of the site was closed when a type of concrete known as rack was found last year. It means students have faced months of disrupted learning and they're worried about the effect on their exam results. Now, we've followed the story closely over the past few months. Tonight, the school's pupils will feature in a special panorama programme on BBC One. Hannah Gray has the details.
There aren't enough classrooms for these children at Scalby School. These 11 and 12-year-olds in Year 7 begin their day by getting a bus and travelling to a college across town. That's because last August, this school in Scarborough was found to contain a dangerous concrete known as rack.
The new term is getting underway in England, with some schools fully or partially closed because of safety concerns about crumbling concrete.
It was one of more than 200 others across the UK, but here, 2/3 of the school was deemed too dangerous for students to enter.
Good morning, Scalby School.
We'd actually just had the best results the school had ever had in the summer, so we were coming with a really great place of momentum. I was down the beach and got a phone call from our head teacher and said, I think you're going to have to sit down for this one because it's some pretty devastating news that we've got regarding the school.
Since then, classrooms have been closed to students and corridors have been at risk of collapse.
We've lost enormous amounts of specialist space. We haven't got a music room, we've not got food tech rooms, we've lost the majority of our science labs, we lost our drama studio for a considerable amount of time, kitchen and dining facilities have gone.
Students here have already had their learning disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. Those sitting their GCSEs this year feel that they're at a significant disadvantage.
We're competing against everyone else in the country. How can we be as good as them when we don't have the same facilities?
We're all a bit in the dark of what's going to happen and how it could affect us. It's not fair at all, to be honest, but there's not a lot that us as students or the staff can do.
If you are engaging, you are going to make more progress.
Their parents and the teachers here have been calling for extra support before their exams. But the government says it's not possible to change exams for only some students. It's asking exam boards to offer extensions on coursework deadlines where possible.
This is meant to be 21st century Britain. We're trying to prepare them for the most important examinations of their life. They've got to go and compete in an arena that is completely and utterly unfair and without any of their doing. This is futures of our students. This is life chances that we're talking about. This is the new reality for us, unfortunately.
With the bus transfers and building supplies, £1 million has been spent so far. The government says it'll cover most of it, but the school says it'll still be nearly £300,000 out of pocket. The Department for Education says safety is paramount and all schools with dangerous concrete are being rebuilt as quickly as possible. Hannah Gray, BBC Look North.
And you can see more on that story on a special panorama programme called Britain's Crumbling Schools. That's tonight at 8 here on BBC One or on the BBC iPlayer. Next tonight, I'm sure you've noticed how windy it's been. Storm Aisha has battered our region overnight with wind speeds of 75 miles an hour. Rail and air travellers faced significant disruption with cancellations and delays. Take a look at these pictures. They show the challenging conditions at Leeds Bradford Airport. This flight from Geneva managed a very rocky landing. Other flights were diverted, with one plane sent to Amsterdam. Driving conditions were difficult as well. Look at this near miss in the village of Belton near Doncaster. A roof blowing onto the road just moments after the car had driven past. Here's the other half of the roof coming down a little bit later on. And this was the scene in Poppleton in York, where a tree blocked the main road into the village. And there were delays in Doncaster too after this lorry overturned at a roundabout. Well, it wasn't just wind causing problems. Roads were flooded in the Dales. This was Wensleydale, and 5 people were rescued by fire crews after their vehicle became stuck in floodwater near North Allerton. Paul is here with us now. Paul, just how bad was it last night?
Oh, obviously very windy. The maximum gust was 75 miles an hour at Emley Moor, so it was a classic winter area of low pressure, a named storm. But we only have to go back to the middle of December when Emley Moor got 77 miles an hour, so actually it was windier in the middle of last month.
We seem to have a lot more named storms this winter. Why is that?
Well, that's right. I mean, the perception is that we are having more and more storms, but you've just hit the nail on the head, named storms, and the Met Office only started naming these storms in the winter of 2015 to 2016. So before then, we never named them, so awareness is much broader now. We all heard about this storm coming 3 days ago, didn't we? So we were all prepared. And also, the weather's always relative. Last winter, it was very quiet, so was the winter before. So this perception that it's getting more and more stormy, it's not quite correct. And actually, we're having a very unsettled, windy and wet winter. That's fairly common in Yorkshire if you look back through the climate record.
And you'll tell us later if any more is in store.
I will indeed.
Got to keep watching for that. And keeping with the storm, it's unclear to know if strong winds played a part in the death of a man who apparently fell into a trench in Queensbury in Bradford. Officers were called to Highgate Road just after 7 o'clock this morning after being alerted by the ambulance service. Police, firefighters and paramedics all attended the scene near the Boar's Head pub. The death is not being treated as suspicious. You're watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. The family of an 11-year-old with a rare illness say their lives have fallen apart as a new drug is withdrawn. But before that, campaigners in Kirklees who are fighting to save care homes from closure are holding a public meeting this evening. Castle Grange in Newsham and Claremont House in Hetman Wyke are earmarked for closure as part of plans to fill a £47 million hole in the council's budget. Well, a final decision is expected next month, and Phil Bodmer is at that meeting for us now. I'm sure that will be very well attended, Phil.
As you can see, Amy, it's absolutely packed here, and this is a very emotionally charged meeting as well. You may imagine the subject matter is very close personally to people's hearts, and they care a great deal about their loved ones. For those, obviously, of family and friends who've got people in residential care suffering with dementia, they say any closure proposals, if they go ahead, will damage the most vulnerable in society.
I know, it's a bit breezy out here. Come on then, let's go. We're going to go into pod.
Sarah Newton's dad, Ernest, has been living at Castle Grange Care Home in Huddersfield since last March. The 81-year-old has vascular dementia and Alzheimer's.
We're going to go, me and you.
OK.
Stop. Dad, inside here.
For Sarah and families like her, knowing loved ones are safe and settled is precious.
The staff here are just fabulous. They care for him like he's a family member himself, and he thinks of them as his family members now. He doesn't fully remember who we all are, but he sees these people every day and they are his family. Dad, do you remember this book?
He's stuck.
This book? No. It's in here. It's a well-loved book, this, isn't it?
At all.
It is your book.
Honestly,
this whole process has been horrific, actually, on my family. Hard for my husband, for the children.
Sarah says their campaign is about providing a voice for vulnerable loved ones.
The time I'm wanting to spend with him, I'm having to sometimes go and spend it trying to fight the campaign to save this home. And this is his home. We should be fighting to save it.
It's a similar story for Sarah Blankborough. Her mum Janet was diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of just 60 in 2017. She says families of those who have loved ones in both Castle Grange and Claremont House appreciate the pressure the local authority is under.
I understand that they're in a really difficult position in terms of their financial situation, but this isn't the answer. Taking provision from vulnerable residents that have contributed very much towards Kirklees and throughout their lives is not the way to resolve this.
Dementia is a cruel condition, robbing sufferers of their independence, identity and a sense of self-worth. Making sure they're happy, settled and safe comes at a cost. But for loved ones watching on, that reassurance of care and protection is priceless. Well, this meeting is scheduled to last until around 8 o'clock tonight, but judging by the number of people here, Amy, it could go on much longer than that. Now, tonight, Kirklees Council have told us, they say, we've come to the end of a 12-week consultation process to review council-run dementia care, residential care in Kirklees. We'd like to thank everybody who shared their views and their thoughts during this time. We are now analysing the feedback from families of residents, staff and stakeholders. They say the outcome of the consultation will be presented to Kirklees Cabinet a month from now for a final decision. But for those people here tonight, this really matters, and Kirklees equally has a number of budget constraints to deal with at the same time. Amy.
Indeed, Phil, thank you. An inquest has heard that a man died after being restrained by security guards at a seaside holiday park near Filey. 22-year-old Ryan Vincent was celebrating his girlfriend's birthday at Primrose Valley in 2017 when he was detained on the site. Now, witnesses testified that they repeatedly heard him say, "I can't breathe," before he died. Carla Fowler reports from Northallerton.
22-year-old Ryan Vincent from Skelton in Cleveland booked the holiday at Primrose Valley Caravan Park as a treat for his girlfriend, Chloe Edwards. It's a huge caravan park near Filey with thousands of caravans and entertainment facilities. And the whole family were really excited, posting social media pictures the day they headed down. That was the 22nd of May 2017, the day they arrived. It was also Chloe's birthday, and the whole family, including her young daughter and their 4-month-old son, headed out for a night out on site that night before Chloe and the children headed back to the caravan. And it was then that Ryan was stopped and restrained by park security guards. Today in court, the first witness to give evidence was Dr. Jennifer Bolton, who was the pathologist who carried out the post-mortem examination on Ryan's body. And her findings indicate that the cause of death was cardiac arrest experienced while Ryan was being physically restrained and held down. Now, there were other witnesses today who were staying in the park that night who said that they could hear shouting from inside their caravan, so they went out to find out what was going on, to see Ryan being held face down on the ground with a security guard on his back using their arms to restrain him and keep him down, and a second security guard assisting. Now, multiple witnesses said they heard Ryan repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe, please turn me over." The inquest heard that Ryan was held face down in this restraint position for more than 20 minutes, and it was during that time that he lost consciousness, stopped breathing and ultimately lost his life, dying later in hospital. Now, at the time, North Yorkshire Police did arrest 2 men on suspicion of manslaughter, but no charges were ever brought by the CPS. It's expected the inquest will continue for most of the week.
Carla Fowler reporting for us there. The family of an 11-year-old boy from Sheffield with a rare form of childhood dementia say their world has fallen apart since a clinical trial ended. This is Harley Bond. He has Sanfilippo syndrome, and his parents were told he may not live beyond the age of 14. But they were given hope when a new drug started to improve his condition. But it was then withdrawn last year. Simon Thake reports.
In many ways, Harley Bond is a typical happy 11-year-old boy. He loves trampolining, watching telly and playing with his 3-year-old brother Arlo. 8 years ago, though, he was diagnosed with a rare form of childhood dementia, a condition called Sanfilippo syndrome. It gradually limits a child's ability to walk, talk and eat.
It's absolutely devastating being told that you've got a terminally ill child.
He was just literally as though nobody was there. He was pretty vacant, weren't he? He was just in his own little space. His speech had totally gone. There was nothing. It was just noise.
In 2017, Harley enrolled on a clinical trial at Great Ormond Street Hospital, run by a US drug company, Alivex, using a cutting-edge drug. The trial showed hugely encouraging results. Wayne and Emma always accepted that Harley might not live beyond his 14th birthday, but they dared to dream the trial might change that.
He started coming back to us. His own little cheeky self, his smiles, his happiness. Where we went to Glastonbury, didn't we? And we were just like a new child again.
However, the trial was abruptly halted late last year when a deal to buy Alivex fell through and the company ran out of money.
Your world just falls apart again and you hit rock bottom.
Industry experts say trials for rare diseases are often at the mercy of a challenging economic environment.
A global rethink is required, a much more joined-up approach between the funding bodies that support quite a lot of the early preclinical research, the pharma companies that invest money into developing new treatments, and then the regulatory bodies that approve these treatments when they get rolled out into clinic.
Have you seen a deterioration in Harley, in his behaviour? We know he's probably coming. Nobody can give us a date. We see the trial as maybe it's been a bit of a clean sweep of the toxins. And it's obviously we know it's going to be starting to build up again in his brain and all in all his organs, really.
Whilst Harley now faces an uncertain future, his parents can only hope another wealthy pharmaceutical company restart the trial as soon as possible. Simon Thake, BBC Look North in Sheffield.
Gosh, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? We did contact the drug company Alivex on several occasions, but they haven't responded. And of course, we do wish Harley and his family all the best. Now, a well-known farm shop in North Yorkshire has announced it will close for good. Kelham Food Hall near Skipton has made its employees redundant after administrators failed to find a buyer for the struggling business. The shop initially closed at the end of last year, with the owners citing cost of living pressures as the reason. More bus services are on the way in West Yorkshire from next month. The move will see new links between Huddersfield and Halifax and an increase in services on key routes. Wakefield will benefit the most from the changes, with more regular evening services. The changes have been made after passenger numbers jumped from almost 30% on some routes after the launch of cheaper services in September. Finally tonight, a 13-year-old boy who raised thousands of pounds for charity while having cancer treatment is now taking a starring role in a major musical in Yorkshire. This is Hughie from Burnley. He completed a series of fundraising challenges after his diagnosis in 2020 and is joined for most of them by his best friend Freddie. Hughie has since been given the all clear and took Freddie on a tour of the Leeds Playhouse where he's performing.
Hi everyone, Hughie and Freddie here. If you watch BBC Breakfast a lot, you probably remember us from our fundraising adventures.
You guys don't stop,
It's so busy in the life of Hughie and Freddie. We've been running around football stadiums up and down the UK to raise hundreds of thousands of pounds for the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital, who've been treating Hughie for leukemia. Since our rise to fame, we've been just a little bit busy. We won a Pride of Britain award. We got our first ever book deal. And now Hughie has landed a starring role as the Artful Dodger in Oliver at the Leeds Playhouse.
My name's Oliver Twist.
And my name is Jack Dawkins, better known among my more intimate friends as the Artful Dodger. In every TV news report, there's always a big interview. And so I've arranged for Freddie and I to interview the big boss. What was it like when Huey told everyone that he was cancer-free?
The reaction of everybody was just, it was extraordinary actually. I'll never forget it. It was an amazing moment of kind of happiness on your behalf and a recognition of how much you and your family have been sort of carrying.
Just the whole cast coming over and just giving me a massive hug. It was so nice, and I think the support from everybody just has been so good.
So Fred, this is where we get all our costumes on, wigs, hats, makeup, but I've actually organised for you to meet a few cast members. Everybody, this is Freddie.
Hi Freddie.
To you, what makes a good crowd?
We very much like applause.
What has it been like moving up north, moving to Leeds for this show?
People are really friendly, which is lovely.
Yeah. Especially the Playhouse, I feel like it's such a diverse and incredible, like, bustling place to be.
While Freddie gets his popcorn, us professional actors have rehearsals and warm-ups to get on with. And then, it's showtime.
What are you staring at? Ain't you never seen a toff?
And it's a brilliant show. Paul, say now with the forecast. We've been holding out for this.
I did like your picture that was in our chat, that fallen tree. You were on it this morning, weren't you?
I am always on call.
Very good.
Never switch that phone off.
Anything to get on the telly. Now then, let me show you this. This is Whitby. This shows you how strong the wind's been. It's been creating this foam. Often you get it in Whitby when the winds are strong. The next picture, though, is quite interesting because this is the wind farm up above Barnsley. And this afternoon, the wind was providing 44% of the entire UK electricity. So that's one positive thing that's coming out of all this wind we're having at the moment. If you've got any pictures, you want to send them to me on Twitter, Instagram, and on the Weather Watchers website. So we have got more wind to come. In fact, that's a feature of the weather over the next few days, powered by a jet stream coming out of America. So warning in place for later tomorrow afternoon. It's a lowest tier of warning, but nevertheless, there will once again be widespread gales, gusts 50 to 60 miles an hour, possibly higher in exposure. So this is the pattern, exceptionally mild tomorrow. Look at the number of isobars, and it is quite a pattern. So wet tomorrow, fine on Wednesday, wet Thursday, fine on Friday, wet Saturday, fine on Sunday. That's quite something, isn't it? But you notice that the colder air is way out of the way. Temperatures will be above average, at worst close to average for this time of the year. Now, we've had some lively showers this afternoon. Reports of thunderstorms across parts of North Yorkshire. So that's where we start the forecast this evening. A number of heavy squally showers. They will fizzle out. It looks like a drier interlude developing for a time overnight. It stays windy. The black arrows are the wind gusts. So by the end of the night, we're still around 50 miles an hour in some spots. So tomorrow's high water times in Scarborough at 2:14, Bridlington at 2:49. So a dry, possibly a bright start, won't last long. Cloud, wind and rain racing back in from the southwest. There's a warning for heavy rain across the Yorkshire Dales, adding to the river levels. That's of some concern. I think to the east of high ground, it will become drier through the afternoon. Now check out these temperatures. The air's coming all the way from the subtropics. We're looking at highs of 14, possibly 15 degrees. The average for this time of the year is 7, but look at the gusts as well. We're going to go above 50, possibly 60 miles an hour tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. There's another look at the changeable weather. Fine, wet as far as the eye can see, and also very windy. That's the forecast.
I'm hoping there'll be no more broken trees on the school run tomorrow
No,
morning.
you'll be out taking pictures, won't you?
Oh, well, the kids were very excited to be at the middle of a news story. That's it from us. Tom Ingalls with you this evening. Bye-bye for now.